Welcome to Chibi Tales, the channel that wishes it were on drugs. But it isn't. It isn't. I swear. In today's video, we've got some hilarious stories from r/entitled parents, where we have some entitled moms, entitled Karens, and worst of them all, Karen moms. Aww. Our first story comes from user Unknown Unwanted, where one Karensaurus felt so entitled it'll make you wonder, seriously? I mean, seriously? What is wrong with people? So I'm a cashier at a local grocery store in my town. And needless to say, the stupidity of some of the people I come across at work could give anyone a migraine. Due to us being an essential establishment, we've been able to stay open even in the middle of a global pandemic. The problem is, the store doesn't provide us employees with much to protect ourselves. The best they've been able to give us is disposable gloves, which I suppose is still better than nothing. I live with my 60-year-old mom, and I do not want to take a chance for obvious reasons. I voiced these concerns to a friend of mine who makes masks, and she happily made one for me. I've been wearing it to every one of my shifts, and I received so many comments from people asking me where I got it. Once I explained to them that a friend of mine made it for me, they usually drop the subject, like normal people. But you don't always have the luxury of interacting with normal people, do you now? So there I was, standing in my lane and watching the clock slowly tick by, eagerly waiting for my shift to be over. This is when I see a woman with her child approaching from a distance and suspect nothing of her, for she didn't hold the trademark appearance of your typical Karen. Oh, how naive I was. This entitled mom pushes her cart through my lane, and I plaster a forced smile on my face and switch into customer service mode. We make small polite conversation, and she seems nice enough. But then, she asked me the fateful question that started this whole debacle. So, where did you get that mask? Oh, a friend of mine made it for me. Well, it's very pretty. Looks well made too. Well, she wasn't wrong. It was a pretty mask. A sky blue fabric decorated with red roses. It was very pretty. Yeah, my friend has made a lot of masks, so she's pretty good at it. Entitled mom then gestures to her daughter, who is sitting in the cart playing on some kind of tablet. I wish I could find a mask for my daughter. I wouldn't want her catching anything. I kinda sense what's coming, but I still didn't assume the worst. I'm sure you can find someone in your neighborhood who makes them? Or you could try and make one yourself? They're pretty easy to make. And then entitled mom says this. I don't suppose you could give me yours? I'm a bit taken aback by this question and move away from her a couple of inches. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to say no. I need this mask for my job. Well, can't you just get your friend to make you another one? She's very backed up on orders from people asking her to make masks for them. Besides, I've been wearing this mask all day. It's full of my germs. Oh, I can just wash it when I get home. I'm sorry, but I'm not giving you my mask. I need it to keep me and my family safe. This mom has started sounding like your average Karen at this point. She also kept slowly inching towards me during this exchange, which was very creepy and scary. And we kept going back and forth, with her saying that her daughter absolutely needs it, and me saying that I need it because I'm an essential worker. She kept getting louder and louder to the point where one of my managers noticed us and was watching the exchange. But that wasn't even half of it. After another minute or so of going back and forth, entitled mom suddenly lunges forward and tries to grab at my mask. I'm able to move my head way back and avoid her, but her fingers almost grazed the fabric. That was enough for the manager to step forward and put a stop to her antics. This was also the moment when Karen hit full crazy mode. Manager says, "Ma'am, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave." Entitled mom goes, "But this woman just stole my daughter's mask. My daughter needs it." "Ma'am, I was watching the whole exchange, and I know that's not true. Leave now before I call the police." At the mention of getting the cops involved, Entitled mom realized she could easily get arrested since we have cameras all over the place. She lifts her daughter out of the cart and leaves in a huff, with no groceries and no mask. Thank God for my manager. Whoa, this woman should have auditioned for Gollum, the way she was obsessing over that mask. My precious! What's your favorite Lord of the Rings movie, by the way? Let me know in the comments below. Our next story comes from user The White Queen, where this entitled mom just couldn't Hakuna her tatas? So I just had surgery on my breast the day before this happened. I had a lump in there that needed to be removed. I was pretty drowsy after the surgery because the anesthesia hit me a little too strong. My boyfriend, who picked me up from the clinic, was told to get me something sugary since my blood sugar was really low, and I am known for fainting. We went to a fast food place to get me my favorite shake. My boyfriend sat me down at a table and went to order the shake. I was wearing a normal t-shirt but wasn't allowed to wear a bra because of the surgery. I was looking around and smiling like an idiot because of the drugs, but I was fine overall. Enter a mom and her son, who looked like he was around 13, who came and sat next to my table. Out of nowhere, the mom starts walking up to me. I was still on another planet, so I sat there giving her a crooked smile. Entitled mom goes, "You can't just sit here with your tits out. It's really distracting my boy." I can feel them very much inside my t-shirt, so I don't know what's the problem here. "You're a junkie!" She points at my hand, which still has the scars of the drips that were put in. "I knew it! Normal people don't sit here all alone, drugged and with their boobs out all day. I'm getting a manager!" She snapped her fingers at a girl working there and told her to get a manager. By this time, my boyfriend noticed and came to the table at the same time as the manager, while entitled mom kept pointing her finger in my face and insulting me. Manager says, what's the problem here?" "This girl here is on drugs and wears no bra, exposing her tits to my poor kid, distracting him from enjoying his meal. I want her thrown out." Before the manager could respond, my boyfriend stepped in. "That's crazy. She is my girlfriend, and she just had surgery. She can't wear a bra because she had surgery on her breast and is prohibited from wearing a bra. She is just a bit drowsy from the narcotics, that's it." "That's a lie. Look at her hand. You're just trying to cover for her. You're probably a druggie too." Boyfriend sighs and fumbles for my surgical report. He shows it to the manager and the mom. He explained to them that I was just here because my blood sugar was low, and I really needed something to get my sugar levels up. Entitled mom, at that point, started to throw a temper tantrum, screaming things like, "People like that don't belong here," and how I was ruining her day. The manager threw her out, and I got my milkshake for free. Just an all-round win. The best part was, I was grinning like an idiot the whole time, just stammering incoherently. I just have one question. What kind of milkshake did she get? Because I really could go for one right about now. What's your favorite kind of milkshake? Comment below and let me know. Our last story comes from user Meraki Orenda, who had experience with a whole new kind of blades of glory. So in high school, I used to work as a figure skating coach. The rink I worked at hosted summer group lessons, These are meant to teach beginner skaters between ages 4 to 12 the basics of skating. Classes in the summer this time were split depending on age and skill level. I'm teaching a group of 6 to 10-year-olds, but before class officially starts, all of the coaches are supposed to help the newest and youngest skaters get onto the ice safely. There was one 5-year-old that was already making a fuss, and his mom was nearly shoving him in her attempts to get him to step onto the ice. The coach that's in charge of his class waves me and the other coaches off, saying she could handle it. Everyone else starts teaching, and there's peace for about 10 minutes. It's the calm before the storm. Next thing I know, I hear full-on demonic screeching, and I turn from teaching my class to see that 5-year-old having a tantrum on the ice. Most likely he'd just fallen, but he wasn't letting the coach help him up. Instead, he resorted to trying to kick anyone that came near him. One of the other coaches goes to help, and the two of them manage to get this kid up from the ice. Unfortunately, this kid ends up kicking both coaches. For those of you unfamiliar with skates, the blades have toe picks at the front of the blade, which are basically little spikes. Very painful if it hits you. These two coaches are trying their best not to drop the kid while hauling him off the ice, both of them with holes in their skating pants and blood visibly showing through. His mom comes running into the rink, and this kid immediately starts stomping around on the ground, still screaming and crying. My supervisor is trying to calm the lady down from what I could see, but all I heard was the mother screeching that, "My son didn't get enough attention. I paid for him to learn how to skate. It's unfair to take him off the ice." My rink's policy is that no matter who you are, if you assault any employee, you are banned from skating there again. Supervisor informs the entitled mom of this, and after more arguing, she finally takes her crotch goblin and tries to leave. Except now, this kid doesn't want to leave, and he ends up kicking his own mother in the shins with his skates, and then kicking the metal frame of the ring boards. That meant that the skates were completely damaged. The supervisor had had enough and called for backup, and a couple police officers arrived. The manager of the ring comes in as well, since the ruckus still hadn't died down, and told the entitled mom that she'd have to pay for the property damage as well as to replace the rental skates her son had ruined. The entitled mom is now arguing with the manager, and the supervisor and two coaches are trying to wrestle the skates off of the 5-year-old before he does more damage to property or other people. Finally, the supervisor has had enough and tells the entitled mom to get the hell out and take her son with her, and that if her son did even more damage, he'll press assault charges on behalf of the two coaches. The officers basically had to force her out because she was still trying to argue. But in the end, she was gone, and after the coaches got treated for their injuries, classes finally resumed. A 5-year-old with knives on his shoe kicking everything in sight? Sounds like my new nightmare. What's your weirdest nightmare? Let me know in the comments below. That was r/EntitledParents, and if you liked this video, be sure to smash that like button and to share this video with your friends because it really helps my channel grow. And if you don't want a 5-year-old with knife shoes come to life and chase you around the block, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you live to see another day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Chibi Tales.